Anna and welcome to my channel, Fine Dining at Home by Berries and Spice. My aim here is to show you the process of making creative and refined dishes in my home kitchen. Today I'll be making a dish of stinging nettles with sautéed chanterelles, with a fermented carrot tartare and a balsamic cured egg yolk. So let's get cooking! Here's what you'll need: a lime, some olive oil, chanterelles, 4 whole cloves, nettles, balsamic cured egg yolk, which you make by adding the yolk to balsamic vinegar an hour before cooking, a small potato, an onion, 2 garlic cloves, some butter, a carrot, Lovage oil or any other nice herbal oil if you have any, salt and pepper. Bring some water to a boil, add salt, peel the potato and the onion, and get them ready to boil with the whole cloves until soft. Chop the garlic, which you will sauté in butter for a minute. For the carrot tartare, dice the carrot into tiny cubes, aka brunoise, season with salt and pepper, add a bit of olive oil, then grate the zest of a lime and mix. Add the chanterelles to a pan, season them, and cook them until they're caramelized. In the meantime, prepare the nettles. You may want to do this with rubber gloves. Mine were a little wilted, so they didn't sting me at all. Check the chanterelles. They should look like this when they're done. Nice and brown. When they're very soft, remove the potato, onion and cloves from the water. Boil the nettles for a minute, then shock them in a bowl of ice water. For the purée, squeeze the nettles to remove excess water, add half of the potato and half of the onion, some butter, season and blend. I ended up preparing more nettles than I initially estimated, for a deep green result. Add some olive oil and, to get a creamier consistency, add a bit of the boiling water as well. Time for plating! So, as always, let me tell you the story behind this dish. So, last Saturday I woke up early and I went to the farmer's market. As expected, I came across lots of mushrooms and amazing produce because after all it's autumn. And whenever I come across chanterelles, I need to buy some. So that's exactly what I did. And a bit later I also came across stinging nettles. That's something I had never actually cooked with, so I decided to take on the challenge. But also, stinging nettles have a very special place in my heart because they remind me of my childhood and they remind me of my grandmas. They used to make stinging nettles a lot, and that's a very popular ingredient in Romania, where I come from. Of course, as a child, I hated stinging nettles. But now, it's of course an exciting ingredient. So back home, normally they're cooked with a roux, so a bit of flour, and modern cooking techniques kind of avoid using flour as a thickener. But I did a little bit of research and I came across a couple of recipes that used potato instead, because it's also starchy. So I did exactly that in my dish. The idea for the dish really came from strolling through the market. As for the balsamic egg yolk, well, I spent all of last Sunday watching a couple of very interesting and inspiring food science talks from Harvard University. I'll leave a link in the description so you can watch them as well. They're very, very interesting. And well, in one of them, Daniel Hum from 11 Madison Park, one of the best restaurants in the world, came to talk about the impact of acidity upon the flavor, the texture, and the color of food. And indeed, if you marinate an egg yolk with balsamic vinegar, it creates a pellicule around it. And well, if you leave that over a couple of days or even one night, even the inside coagulates a little bit, so it becomes a little bit harder and, well, less runny. That was actually my plan at first. I marinated the egg yolk last night in balsamic vinegar and I was gonna use it today, but unfortunately it punctured, so I didn't have a nice yolk to use for the plating today. Which is why I ended up just marinating it an hour before I had to plate it up. And that was enough to still have a nice pellicule, a little bit of an aroma of balsamic vinegar, and the inside was still super runny and nice, so I very much like the result. Of course, if you do this, get really good quality eggs, and I advise you to buy organic products anyway. Trying to add a little bit more crunch to the dish, and actually texture is also something we're going to be talking about at some point in a future video. Well, I decided to use my lacto-fermented carrots, which I made a couple of weeks ago, and I never used them. I just popped them in the fridge and left them there. They worked really well in this dish, but to be honest, I think you can also use raw carrots. They will work perfectly well in this dish. Now, let's talk a little about food education and cooking, really. I'm not a professional chef, and I've never actually worked in a professional kitchen. But I'm constantly curious and looking for inspiration everywhere to come up with these dishes. And I love food and cooking so much that it takes up most of my free time. I read books about food history and science, and I will share some of my favorite books with you as well, but actually two of them are these two, Gastrophysics by Professor Charles Spence and Molecular Gastronomy by Hervé Dis. Gastrophysics is really about the perception of flavor and how various factors impact on that. So for example, the color, the shape, the weight of a plate or of cutlery, external sounds, and so much more. Molecular gastronomy, on the other hand, tackles the transformation of ingredients through cooking techniques. Like, for example, should you salt the steak before or after cooking it? Does that change its flavor? Is one way better than another, as so many chefs like to fight about? Well, it turns out it doesn't really matter, but I'll let you explore more in the book. Then, I'm also subscribed to a couple of different food magazines, one of them being The Gourmand, another one being Toothache, and just recently, and I actually just got this in my mail today, Gastronomica. Can't wait to read this. On top of that, I have a collection of over 50 cookbooks that I just love to look through for inspiration, or to find an exciting ingredient pairing, or to learn a new technique. And in my free time, I binge on so many inspiring food talks and recipe videos that I literally fill up all my time with food even when I'm not actually eating. Over the years, I've learned that one should be less afraid of experimentation in the kitchen. But of course, some basic knowledge is necessary. I'll leave some links in the description, hoping all of this will pique your curiosity and that will make you want to explore more of this amazing universe of food. But anyway, thanks for watching again. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and spread the food love. Until next time, bye!